We are looking ahead to the Women's World Cup, which starts on Friday. Very exciting, wide open tournament. The Women's World Cup was absolutely, I loved it 4 years ago. I think it was in Canada. It was brilliant, wasn't it? It was a superb tournament, slick football, played in a fantastic spirit, no diving, no cheating, no arguing. It's absolutely superb. Do make sure you watch the Women's World Cup. It will be brilliant. And hopefully, we've got a couple of bets for you to make it even better. I'll spin through Paddy Power's leading prices. 11-4 the USA, 7-2 the hosts France, 5-1 Germany, 7-1 England, 12-1 Japan, the Netherlands and Australia. Sorry, Netherlands and Australia actually 14-1, and it's 16-1 bar. Liam, who will win the Women's World Cup final?
Obviously, there's a lot of excitement about USA. I mean, they're clear favourites, never finished lower than third at Women's World Cup. But I think there's reasons to oppose them. They only made the quarterfinals of the Olympics in 2016. And although they've got some incredible quality going forward, I think it's fair to say they've got quite an ageing squad. I mean, Carly Lloyd is, about 36, Megan Rapinoe, 33, Tobin Heath, 31. So I think there's reasons to oppose them. Also France, I mean, they're right up there, as you say, home advantage. The big key for them is that the whole core is comprised of Lyon players who've just gone and won a fourth successive Champions League title. They've got the likes of Wendy Renard, the centre-back, Amandine Henry in midfield, and usually the Sommet. So they've got a good core to their team. But they've never made it past the quarterfinals, and there's going to be added pressure because I don't think a nation has ever held the men's and women's titles at the same time. So there's obviously that added pressure, and
it could inspire them, though, Liam.
It could, yeah, very much so. But I don't like the 7-2 for a team that have never made it beyond the quarterfinals is a bit too risky for me. So I think the team I like the look of are Germany. I think, the 2015 semi-finalists, two-time World Cup winners. They're always there or thereabouts, and they go into this tournament, I believe, unbeaten in 13 matches. And I think the edge they've got over these other sides going into this tournament is a slight sense of unpredictability. Their coach is Martina Voss-Tecklenburg. She's only been there since November, but she's made a good start, and they've got a very good blend, I think, of youth and experience in that team. They've still got their core of like the goalkeeper, Almut Schultz, Jennifer Marajan is one of the best, probably the best playmaker in the world, possibly, and Alexandra Pop up front. But then kind of complemented by these younger players, likes of Leah Schuler and Sarah de Brit. So I think, I'd look at Germany as my main fancies in the outright.
Well done, Liam. Very strong case for the Germans. Who are you going to go for, Wilco?
I like the Americans, but there are a couple of others that are a bit further down the list who I think they could do it. I'll talk about America first. We've mentioned they've lost once in their last 38 matches. They just know how to get the job done, and they've got a very comfortable group. It is an open tournament, but they've got a dream draw. They're going to play Chile and Thailand. They're playing Thailand in their first game. They're 33-1 on to win that match. They could really rack up a few goals. So I can't see that there's going to be a problem them getting through the group stage. And they play Sweden in their last game, the team who knocked them out of the Olympics. So you can imagine the American mentality of, that's really going to inspire them to get through that. They are, 11-4. There's a little bit bigger than 11-4 out there. So I think they're the best of the big guns, but it's a tournament that's quite top heavy when you look at the draw, because if the Americans get through their relatively easy group, they're going to have to play either Germany or Spain in the last 16, then possibly France in the quarterfinals, then possibly England in the semis. So if Germany get through, that's the teams that are second, third, and fourth in the world. Whereas on the other half of the draw, there's a bit of value with some teams that could give you a good run for your money.
And we're 24 teams, aren't we? So we go 24 groups, 6 groups of 4, and then a round of 16, isn't it?
And the 4 best third place.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
yes.
To produce.
Yes. So we get to 24, then 16.
Horrible format, but
yeah, it's not ideal. The teams that I like from an each way perspective are Australia, who they've got an excellent forward in Sam Kerr, who's a real star player, and they've been pushing on. They were unlucky to finish runners-up to Japan in the Asian Cup. I think they could go well. They've had a last-minute change of manager. There's been a bit of a tiff. Alan Sacic was manager, and they sacked him for having an unsatisfactory football environment. So they've got a new manager. There was a bit of a row because they had, as a young girl, 16-year-old Mary Fowler, who he didn't want to play, but she's got her dad's Irish. So there's a dual nationality issue. So Australia are desperate for her to play so that they keep her because she's up and rising. They should win their group. They look good. I like Holland as well. Current European champions, definitely pushing on, and they should, if they both win their respective groups, they'll meet each other in the quarter-final. So if you back both of them each way, then you should have a runner in the semis. So that would be, which would not be a bad one when they're 14-1, 16-1. And the team a little bit further out, Spain, 25-1. They're going to play in the style that we'd associate with Spanish football. They play in the same manner of as the men's team, lots of tight passing, good possession, tidy footballers. They're on the up. They won all 8 of their qualifying matches. They didn't get through the group stage last time, which was their debut, but Spanish women's football is definitely on the up. They won the under-19 and the under-17 European Championships. They're 25-1. I think they can give America the Germans a really good run in their group, and if they get through, 25-1 is a decent each-way shot for a team with many of their players play for Barcelona, who were runners-up to Lyon in the Champions League final last week.
Fantastic. Well done, lads. Go on. What you got?
Well, the other thing I was going to add is the Netherlands. I think they're just. I think they're way too big. I think the reason they're being underrated is because they qualified via a playoff, didn't they? They also had a pretty poor showing at the Algarve Cup recently, so maybe that's seen them inflate a bit. I don't know, but they're still Euro 2017 champions, and I just think going forward, you look at the players they've got at their disposal. Viviane Miedema, who's obviously the Arsenal player, Shanice van der Sanden, Lieke Martens, Daniela van der Donk. They've just got possibly the best going forwards, probably the best in the tournament, maybe USA, I don't know.
Okay, so to summarise, you're going Germany, Holland, or Netherlands, and Wilco?
I'll go America and Australia.
Okay, lovely stuff. Right, top scorer then, Paddy Power go, 11-2, Alex Morgan of the USA, 7-1, Samantha Kerr from Australia and France's Eugénie Le Sommer, 15-2, Viviane Miedema from the Netherlands, 11-1, Alexandra Popp, 12-1, Valerie Gauvin of France, and 14-1, Megan Rapinoe from the American squad. 16-1 bar. Where's the value, Wilco?
Well, I've just said that the Americans have got an easy group and they've got a couple of games that they should win quite convincingly. So it is no surprise to see Alex Morgan at the top of the market. But she's only scored 3 in her last 10 games for America, and they've had some pretty hefty wins. So I think I'll swerve her and go for a teammate, Tobin Heath at 16-1, who's had an excellent recent record. She'll be playing as a support striker. She's scored 5 in her last 7 internationals. And the other one I like is Miedema, the Dutch girl. I've seen her play 2 or 3 times for Arsenal. Very good. She's going to. It's a bit like Harry Kane. You know that she's going to play every game. She's got a great record: 58 goals in 75 games for Holland, and 29 goals for 25 games for Arsenal this year. So she's really good. What I would say about the top scorer market is that there's quite a lot of England players towards the top of it, and I would be tempted to give them a swerve, mainly because we're pretty much in the dark about what the team that Phil Neville's going to pick. So you don't really know who's going to play. He's got 5 or 6 players who are all capable of having a big tournament, but I just get the feeling that he's going to chop and change them a lot. And I'd give them a swerve. You might not get much value in there.
Righty-ho. Liam, who do you like for top scorer?
I mean, the USA strikers are certainly tempting, like Wilco said. I mean, I like the look of possibly Megan Rapinoe. She could fill her boots in games against like Thailand and Chile. So if you're looking for a USA striker, I think she probably represents the best value. But my main tip, sort of keeping with the Germany theme, would be their captain, Alexandra Popp, the striker. She scored 13 goals for Wolfsburg in the Bundesliga this season, 46 goals for her country. And as I said earlier, I think she's probably got the best playmaker in the world in Jennifer Marajan playing behind her, who you expect to feed her throughout the game. And she's quite a physically imposing striker. And Germany have also got games in which she could score bucket loads, like against South Africa and possibly China as well. So I think for my main tip for top scorer, I like the look of her. I like Miedema, I think, is a good one in the top scorer, but I think you can get even more value out of her in sort of a player of the tournament bet, because she was top scorer in the Women's Super League, but she also laid on 10 assists as well, and she's quite an exciting player to watch in the final third. So I think that's quite a big price. Player of the tournament is about 25-1.
Didn't there used to be a tennis player called Alexander Popp, didn't they? Do you remember him years ago?
Good fact about this, Alex Popp. She's a zookeeper.
Is she really?
A zookeeper and a professional footballer. What a great life.
Wow, that is good, isn't it?
Yeah.
Wow.
She's just completed a 3-year apprenticip to be a zookeeper. I
wonder what animal she looks after.
Oh, I'm sure that will be a subject of a BBC
Imagine
interview.
she looked after Paul the octopus during the Germany World Cup. That'd be the biggest coincidence ever, wouldn't it? Right, let's look at the first, or let's look at 2 of the more intriguing first round games. starting with the curtain raiser on Friday at 8 p.m. South Korea take on the host France. It's live on BBC One, and don't forget another great thing about the Women's World Cup, extensive terrestrial coverage. Paddy Power make the French 1-10. They go 22-1 that South Korea can provide a massive upset, and the draw is 15-2. What's your best bet, Liam?
I think France sort of -2 on the handicap. I think they'll start this tournament off with a bang. I think South Korea are quite over-reliant on Chelsea's Jae So-yeon. They don't really have a lot elsewhere. They only qualified for the tournament via goal difference. They lost to Iceland in April and lost to Sweden last month. And as I said, I talked about that core of that France team is just made up of winners who just come off that Champions League win with Lyon. They'll be buzzing, so I think they can get quite a comprehensive win there.
Wilco?
I'm going unders. I think you will not see much endeavour from the Koreans. They'll be parking the bus. France coming in good form. I mean, they've won 13 of their last 14 matches, but obviously as hosts, they haven't played any sort of competitive football, even though they've played against some of the big teams in the world. They beat the Americans as well in that run. I've just taken a chance that it might take them to there's a lot of pressure on them. We've pinpointed that they've not got past the quarterfinals. There's a hell of a lot of expectation for a team that haven't done much in the past. I just think that they might get off to a slow start, so under 2.5 goals at 5-4 for me.
And on Sunday at 5 p.m, it's England versus Scotland, again live on BBC One. 1-7 England, 13-1 Scotland, 11-2 the draw. Wilco, do those odds reflect England's supremacy over Scotland?
I think they beat them 6-0 in the Euros, but I don't think we're going to see that sort of game. If you'd have said to me in March, after England had won the prestigious She Believes Cup in America, where they beat Brazil, Japan, who were runners-up last year, and drew with America, I would have said, this will be a comfortable game. But there's not been a lot to be really enthusiastic about in the recent warm-up games. They lost to New Zealand at Brighton last week. They also failed to beat Canada. They didn't put a great performance in when they won 2-0 against Denmark, and I do fear that Phil Neville's having trouble identifying who his best team is. They've played different goalkeepers in these warm-up matches. There's not been one point where it's sort of like, right, you don't get the idea that this is my 1-11. You don't know how he's going to utilise lots of good attacking options. Scotland, and I think Scotland have a chance of making a big impression in this game.
What's the bet?
I think I will go for England and both teams to score, mainly because Paddy Power didn't have both teams to score. The market priced up at the time coming over. But Scotland have scored in 12 of their last 14 matches. They played Jamaica, who have also qualified. They played the first Caribbean team to have made the World Cup. They won 3-2 at Hampden in front of a big crowd last week. But they conceded some sloppy goals. And but I'm not so sure about England. They've got their back four all sorted, playing together the way they're going. So yeah,
England and both teams to score.
13-5, that is.
Righty-ho, and Liam.
I think it'll be quite a cagey affair. I'll go England under 3.5. 5 of Scotland's last 7 games have been settled by a single goal margin. Like I said, England have tournament preparations haven't been particularly good. I think you're right about not being sure of the best first team. Obviously, the absence of Jordan Nobbs in midfield is quite a big blow. It'd be interesting to see if Lucy Bronze, probably one of the best fullbacks in the world, she might plug that gap and they might be okay. But I think England could be possibly overrun in midfield in the bigger games.
It's not the time to be sorting out how you're going to play.
No, absolutely. No,
it's 2 years.
It's a bit late, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, chaps, if we were looking at one bet on the opening skirmishes of the World Cup, who would we go for, Wilco? Can be whatever you like, a match, a group, you name it.
Australia to win Group C at 5-6.
Why?
I think that Brazil are weak. The second team in that field, they're in dismal form, lost their last 9 games. Italy and Jamaica not got World Cup pedigree.
Okay, and what are you going to go for, Liam?
Yeah, I'm going to echo that. I think Australia top Group C, Sam Kerr in their ranks, aging Brazil side with Marta and Formiga, and inexperienced Italy and Jamaica team. So I'll echo that as well.
Beautiful. Well done, chaps. Thank you very much.